The fowl screamed, fought, bled, but the president never stopped. The grand hall of the presidential palace was dimly lit. A long, polished table stretched across the room, where the president's cabinet sat, their faces tense, eyes darting between each other. They had been summoned at midnight. At the head of the table sat the Great Pelican, the president. His face, weathered but unreadable, held an eerie calmness. Before him, on the table, sat a live fowl, bound at its feet, its feathers gleaming under the chandelier's glow. The air was thick with unease. "Gentlemen," the president's voice finally broke the silence, smooth yet laced with something sinister. "Tonight, I will teach you the secret of ruling a nation." The ministers leaned forward, wary yet intrigued. With slow, deliberate movements, the president took the fowl into his hands. His grip was firm but steady. Then, without warning, he yanked out a single feather. The fowl let out a sharp, piercing scream. The ministers flinched. Some gasped. One even rose to protest, but the president silenced him with a mere glance. Then he pulled another feather. The fowl screamed louder, thrashing in his grip. Another, and another. Feathers rained down onto the polished floor, each one ripped away with precision. Minutes passed. The screams grew weaker, the struggling slowed, until finally, the fowl stopped fighting. Now, it lay still, its body bare, trembling in the president's hand. The ministers stared in horror. The president looked up at them, his face calm, almost bored. "Do you see?" With the fowl still shivering in his hand, he gestured to one of his ministers. "Bring me a handful of corn." The minister hesitated, then obeyed. A small bowl of corn was placed before the president. The president took a few grains, held them in his open palm, and lowered his hand toward the plucked fowl. The room fell silent. For a moment, the fowl did nothing. It sat still, shaking, its eyes dark and empty. Then slowly, it pecked at the corn. One grain, then another, and another. The ministers watched in stunned silence. The fowl, once full of rage and resistance, was now feeding from the very hand that had tortured it. The president leaned back, satisfied. He turned to his ministers. "This, gentlemen, is the secret to power. You see, humans are no different." He tossed more corn, watching as the fowl eagerly ate. "First, you make them suffer. You strip them of everything: hope, dignity, unity. At first, they will resist. They will scream, they will fight. But pain has a way of breaking even the strongest spirit." He leaned forward, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Then, when they are weak, you give them just enough. Just a little relief. A grain of hope, a scrap of kindness." He smirked, watching the fowl gobble up the last of the corn. "And they will eat from your hand like loyal pets, grateful, forgetful, dependent." The room was deathly silent. Some ministers sat frozen in fear. Others nodded slowly, understanding the horrifying wisdom in his words. One minister, a man with a troubled look, finally found his voice. "But is this right?" The president chuckled. "Right? Wrong? It does not matter. What matters is power, the moral lesson. What can we learn?" This story exposes a harsh truth about political power. Many politicians break the people first before offering them help. The masses are divided, weakened, and made desperate, so that when given even the smallest relief, they become loyal out of fear and survival, not love or trust. Politicians use hunger, conflict, and manipulation as tools to control the people, ensuring they remain obedient and dependent. But the real question is, are we like the plucked fowl, or will we refuse to be fooled by small handouts after suffering at their hands? This is the reality of politics. Will you wake up, or keep eating the corn? What can we do? 1. Stay united. Do not let leaders divide the people with tribalism, religion, or fake conflicts. 2. Refuse to settle for scraps. Demand real change, not temporary gifts. 3. Think long-term. A politician who gives you rice today may steal your future tomorrow. 4th, hold leaders accountable. Do not forget who caused the suffering just because they gave you relief. Have you ever seen this happen in real life? Have you ever been given something just to forget the pain you were put through? Comment below. We are not fowls. If you believe people need to hear this story, share it now. Subscribe for more eye-opening stories that reveal the truth.